Macmillan Audio presents The Unfaithful Queen by Carolee Erickson. Read for you by Stina Nielsen. Chapter 1. Tower Green, May, 1536. The new-mown grass smelled sweet as we took our places along the verge on that grey dawn, all of us together, waiting for my cousin Anne to be brought out to die. Though the spring was well advanced, there was a chill in the air, and I shivered under my thin Spanish cloak. I drew nearer to my aunts and my grandmother Agnes, sidling up against her long bony body, swathed in a gown of watchet blue, under her warm woolen ermine-trimmed mantle. She did not look at me, but stood very still, her back very straight, her crimsoned cheeks wrinkled, her lips widened in a half-smile. My grandma had once been handsome, so it was said, but her youth was long past, and no finery, no amount of paint on her sallow cheeks could disguise the marks of age. She was said to be the richest woman in England, and one of the most fearsome. I drew nearer to her now, as the sun began to rise and the first crimson streaks blazed along the horizon. The hour was nearly at hand. The faces of the relatives all around me were growing tighter. Aunts and uncles and cousins. Ancient great-aunts whose names I barely knew. Aged great-uncles who, I had been told, had fought alongside my grandfather in the long wars that had brought him fame. At the centre of the crowded nest of relatives was my Uncle Thomas, 3rd Duke of Norfolk, the head of our family. He stood slightly apart from the rest of us, feet planted firmly, his dark face with its hooded eyes grim, his mouth set in a firm line. His elaborate padded and slashed doublet of quilted yellow silk made him stand out from among the growing number of spectators gathering to watch the dread spectacle to come. "Get on with it, then." We who were closest to him heard him mutter, "Kill the big whore." Birds began twittering and chirping as the sky lightened. They swooped in and out of chinks and crannies in the great blocks of grey stone in the ancient tower walls. I watched them, fluttering and flapping their small wings, glad for a chance to be distracted by something other than the grisly business to come. I tried to forget that my cousin Anne, many years older than I and Queen of England, was to die this morning. I had never seen anyone die by the sword. I did not want to watch. I shrank back among the others, glad for once that I was so small. At 15 years old, I was a full head shorter than other girls my age, that I could not see over the heads of those in front of me. I could barely glimpse the raised platform, draped in black, with its thick block of wood, the guardsmen in royal livery who stood around it, the tall halberdiers with their sharp-bladed, long-handled hatchets that glinted in the sunlight. For what seemed an hour or more, we stood, weary of waiting, while the crowd grew larger and larger and the sun rose higher. "Remember, she's not one of us," my grandmother hissed. "She has betrayed the family. She has betrayed the Howard name. Take warning from her fate." Her words unleashed more accusations, terrible accusations, from those standing near me. I heard someone say that Anne had had many lovers, that every night when she went to bed she had men lined up, ready to do her bidding. Even her brother George. How could such things be said, I wondered? How could my cousin have so dishonoured our Howard lineage? Unless she was mad, or possessed by a demon. "Do you think she was possessed by a demon?" I whispered to my...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?